Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Sassy is, well, she's not in the house. She's out in the woods, and she's loving it. So we've been taking a hike, and it's gorgeous. We just had a really interesting conversation. We never see anybody,
Right.
and we're walking, and then all of a sudden, wow, there's somebody there out here in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, so that was a nice treat. Run into one of the natives that are local in the area that know everybody else. And that was just really nice when that happens.
Yeah, it was a blessing, because it was really cool. Because we got into a lot of conversations, and we told him, be on the lookout for wildlife, because we've seen some tracks. And then he was telling us a story of mountain lions that the game warden came out and basically found the mountain lion, which there are a lot of apparently in the area. But was trying to take it down with a 22, and it wasn't working too well. So luckily, I guess he had backup with a 9 millimeter, and that got rid of it,
Hmm.
as it had been, causing problems for the locals. Always sad when an animal dies, but without a doubt, those can be pretty dangerous.
Oh my gosh, I know. I was surprised he took it down with that because it seems like it would just do nothing but make him angry.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, the other interesting part with talking to him was that he said that he had found footprints that measured 11 and a half inches long, 5 feet wide, barefoot footprints, very deep
Yeah.
too, with a stride that was like almost twice his stride. So really curious. He was really curious. He didn't come out and say Bigfoot, Sasquatch, but he was like, who in their right mind is walking around in 20 and 30-degree weather with bare feet?
Yeah, and he said he got a weird feeling about it too, with the area surrounding. And I do believe those Bigfoots put off a certain vibration that we can pick up.
Yeah, Cindy has sensed them in here before, and she says they're on the shorter side, not like what you think of a typical Bigfoot, like 8 to 10 feet tall, but shorter, but definitely in the same family.
Well, definitely in the same family. It seems like what I've noticed is they kind of go with their environment. Like if the trees are really tall and super thick, it seems like they're bigger in that area. If trees are a little smaller and it's not as dense, it seems like they're a little bit smaller too. So it's like they just sort of naturally go organically with their area.
They do. I'll just share with you a little look of the beauty. There's something about this when you get up like 8,000 feet and higher in the desert. It just has its own beauty. It's just, for one, it's so peaceful. It's just incredibly peaceful and quiet. And the other thing is, like where we are, there's nobody. It's just wonderful. And like we said, we were shocked to actually see a human here. That really surprised us.
I know, and one without a mask, and they weren't afraid to talk to us, and that just felt good.
Yeah, and a wonderful, nice guy. And, his ancestors have been here a long time. So, guys, what we wanted to give to you is some info on what we got from this morning's meditation, and we loud and clear we had messages come through from Laurel and from Kira. Kira's on guard big time right now, and again, those are our two Pleiadian contacts that are part of the Galactic Federation. And so, Cindy is able to now, she's able to get a clear, uh, I think that was just a cow. I heard something big out there.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, I think that was just a cow. Um, Cindy was able to get a clear message without going into a full trance. It's like a partial. How would you describe it?
It's still a little bit like Dreamland, so I don't always remember. But it's a trance. It's another kind of trance, and they give me more pictures to translate, and then vibrations with those pictures. So it is a little bit different instead of a full trance, which for me, it can be hard on the heart.
So you guys know, if you've been following us, back in August, I believe it was August 6th or 4th, we got the message, and you could check back there, because most of these are entitled Message from the Galactics or Galactic Federation or Pleiadian High Council. We got the message that it was going to look like number one was gone. And we didn't know if that meant uh, like deceased, or if it meant what it meant exactly. All they gave us is going to look like he's gone, but he's not. And that's kind of the message that we got reiterated today, is that it looks a certain way, but that's not the reality of it. And expect the unexpected. They said that, how did they word it? They said in 4 days' time, your country will not resemble what it has been at all.
Right, they did say that, that, 4 days, things are going to be a lot different. And I do recall them talking about communications being disrupted possibly. And the thing with the Galactics is they're just as much on the edge of their seats as we are on ours.
Yeah, and unfortunately, but to be expected, there are some out there that are trying to paint the Galactics in a negative light, and that's part of the bigger plan. That's part of the draconian reptilian plan. Always sowing the seeds of doubt. Always. There are some out there that are getting infiltrated by misinformation coming through the draconian reptilian grid, and that's par for the course, because the knowledge of the Galactic Federation is something that is going to be undeniable. It's already being disclosed, as we saw that official from Israel acknowledging it, but then also even him, painting it in a light that could be termed negative. And that's part of this whole plan. They plan to, well, they know they can't stop disclosure. So what are they going to do? They're going to try to get everybody against the good guys. And that's been part of their plan, and I've realized that aspect for decades.
And it's really, really horrible when they do that, because they take a really, really good thing and they make it out to be a horrible thing. And because of people's, I don't know, I don't want to use the word ignorance, because they don't do it on purpose, but because people don't know any better, they follow along with these things that they've been taught, like certain symbols, like even the swastika. I mean, it was something beautiful.
It was altered, obviously, as they alter everything. They make a mockery of everything, from the teachings of the greatest masters that have ever walked the earth, and then turn it into something it was never supposed to be. And as I've said before, the great deception that is spoken of in the Bible is the whole system that we see, and the whole belief set that is inaccurate, because who has given us these texts and revised these texts, and who has burned all the other texts, that we've just been able to get some copies of in the last 70 years or so. Otherwise, they were gone for, like 1,700, 2,000 years. They were eliminated from anybody being able to look at them. And this is part of the bigger deception. The deception is what is the mainstream. It's that simple. Anything that's mainstream, whether you're talking mainstream media or mainstream religion, they've been twisted, perverted, and they're not what they were originally intended to be. They are being used as a tool of division. So what we got was, Wednesday will be a day that changes the history books, but even before that, things are really coming out now. There is no way you're going to be able to deny everything that's coming out. And again, this is the great unveiling, the great apocalypse. All will be revealed, and it's coming out now. So, for those that believe there's going to be a smooth transition, it ain't happening. Yeah.
Oh no, and we have to be prepared for some rocky road, because things need to change. They cannot sustain the way they are. There's no way they could sustain the way they are. And things might get really messy before they get better, and that's what we need to brace for. And really, really, really learn to go within, really learn to work on healing yourself, work on your own issues, so that at a later time we can, as a collective, help things get better.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we're here, and so many others are here. This is really going down this time, and I think we've had so many false calls. We've had our hopes, brought up to a very high level and then crushed time after time after time. But what Cindy feels today when we were out hiking, and yeah, it's a gorgeous day. There's blue skies. They haven't chemtrailed the crap out of us, thankfully. Um, but it feels like there's a little shift underway. There is a shift. This is going to be an ebb and flow thing, and it's not going to be the same across, well, from sea to shining sea. As we look at the country, every area is going to have different things going on. Some areas will be thrilled and excited with what's coming, and others will be terrified, horrified, angered. So again, depending on where you're at, you're going to have a totally different set of circumstances going on.
You are, and it's really important that you have the ability and the understanding on how to kind of go with the flow of things and change when you need to, and make adjustments to your life as your life kind of changes course, as you're moving into alignment. I think things are moving into alignment now, and sometimes that can look scary sometimes, moving into alignment, because that means old things need to fall away to make room for new things.
Yeah, and the system has to change, and it has to change in the biggest of ways. It really needs to be totally gone and redone from scratch. And so, this is going to be another step in the crumbling. And we just saw, and I said to Cindy, "Oh, this looks creepy as heck," because there was a big, very square rock in the middle of a spot where it shouldn't be a perfectly square rock, and even had carved out of it a little indentation. I feel like it was done for some sort of ritual, or Cindy got the feeling it might have just simply been quarried by the
Mm-hmm.
Anunnaki
Yeah,
so long ago.
yeah.
And it could very well be the case, because we've come into that, and we've seen so much evidence out here in the American West, tons in Nevada, of the fact that there was high civilization here, and the ruins are still there. There's some stuff that we haven't even shared with you guys yet. I got to try to dig it up. There's discoloration on stone in the middle of nowhere where nobody's ever built anything. That to me looks like it could have only been made by oxidization from something that weighed a ton and was metallic.
Mm-hmm.
And perfect round circles. It just doesn't make sense with our his story that we have.
Yeah, there's a lot of that out there. And remember, we've been told a story, and, to try to ignore certain things or not look at certain things because they don't want us to know where we're from. If we knew where we were from, well, we'd have a better idea of where we're going.
Yeah, and when we've talked about aliens, there have been some people that made very good comments that we are the aliens, which of course we are in a sense, because whatever was here was altered, and at the same time, there's been so many other different forms of intelligent life here, constantly intermingling, interbreeding. And, there's so many people that there's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people that have been abducted and remember their abduction experiences and can talk about being up in a ship and seeing other beings in kind of a stasis and cylinders, and they always are about taking genetic material and manipulating and creating new life forms. So that's been ongoing forever. This whole, mindset that the earth is flat and there's no other life out there, that's given to us by the CABAL, the I at the top of the pyramid beings. That's their philosophy, because, if we all knew that there was extraterrestrial and interdimensional interference in this world, they would be found out, and they are being found out. So they can't have that. But talking to people like Martine that we just met here, who is of the Navajo tribe, and their stories, and I've talked to others of many different tribes as we've been all over the country. They know of this. They know of the reptilians. They know of the Greys. They know of the Draco. And I said reptilians and Draco separately because there are different branches in there as well. They understand all this. They know about the inner Earth people as well. So that's part of why they've been attacked, because they have clear knowledge of it. As well as Cindy has gotten, that the indigenous people had a much more developed pineal gland than most, and that's really why they've gone through what they went through.
Well, yeah, and they do have a much more developed gland, and that's a huge reason why they put all of these foods with all these, the high fructose corn syrup and the sugars and the preservatives and stuff, because that will calcify, that will block your ability to read stuff out in the ether.
So you were getting images and info on the dragon,
Mm-hmm.
the big dragon, the top dragon, the dragon of dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that we were she was getting described this is the true pinnacle of the negative powers. And at the top of the negative powers is basically, well, remember how we always say that you shouldn't have artificial ingredients in your food?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, that A word with intelligence, right? That's the ultimate pinnacle, which is merged also with this great black dragon.
Yeah, they were showing me this big black dragon in the sky, and right now we don't want to be seen by that dragon, and the best way we can stay out of view of that dragon is to keep your vibration high and it doesn't see you. And I don't really quite understand the whole purpose of the vision. I haven't been able to sit down and meditate on it and dissect it, but in a nutshell, really, you want your vibration high so you're not seen by this dragon. So, you just kind of slide through everything easily.
Yeah, it's all about keeping your vibe high, which is tough to do when all this is coming out. We're going to get emotionally pulled in. It's just going to happen. But try to always hold that love and joy in your heart, and knowing that we're coming out of a dark period and we're heading into something good. Yeah, we still have a while to go. It's going to be small increments, small battles won, slowly, slowly. I mean, right now, as we said, it's always darkest before the dawn. Now it's full court press right now,
Mm-hmm.
full court press. It's, as somebody had related, this is like the Empire Strikes Back right now. That's what we got right now, Empire Strikes Back. But we're looking forward to Return of the Jedi, where it's, going to be a happier time
Mm-hmm.
again. And that will come. But in totality, yeah, we have years ahead. I mean, not that, I know there's a lot of people out there that want it to be like done right now. Of course, we all do. But it is going to be battles, and it's going to be slowly taking territory back. When we look at any major wars that have been out there, even when you start to push the enemy back, it still takes a while until everything is, completed, so to speak. So we have a while to go. And then when we have that done, we still have earth changes to deal with, which, when our consciousness rises, can mitigate those tremendously. Tremendously. As soon as we start getting in harmony with Mother Earth and all of the positive galactic energy that's just coming in, trying to help us evolve into something that we were in the past. It's regaining our wings, because mankind is in a fallen state, but it's not because he's not bending the knee to the Anunnaki gods. That's what they want you to think. It's because we've been altered, and we've been subjected to different frequencies, energies, and food that keeps us in a lower vibration.
Mm-hmm. That's so, so true. I mean, the food that we eat is so horrid for us, at least the food that they put in front of us to eat that's out of a box, it's just horrible for you. It's like eating poison. And that's one thing we really, really need to get away from, is that convenience factor when it comes to that.
Zeke's perking up. Something might be approaching from this side. So, guys, we're going to leave it there for this one, and we're going to check out what's approaching. There's a lot more to come, and Cindy did get a lot more channeled info too that we'll put into a separate video and go in depth with that. As always, be prepared out there. We're in critical times, and these days going towards Wednesday, the big day, are going to be very, very interesting. So much is going to come out, it's going to just blow your mind.
God bless and namaste.
Yes, thank you so much for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon as well. God bless and namaste.